Welcome back to the J is for Justice news desk. This is your weekly update on the cases we are following. Tracy Ferriter in court tomorrow. Jeremy Best kills his wife, unborn child, and possibly, most likely, the infant child. And the latest on Brian Laundrie and his parents and the lawyer situation. Let's get into it. Tracy Ferriter and her husband, Timothy, are a Jupiter, Florida couple who were accused, and Timothy has been convicted, of locking their teenage son in what witness described as a very strange room in the family's garage. According to the probable cause affidavit, it says that Timothy and Tracy unlawfully caged a child. They are accused of aggravated child abuse and false imprisonment. On January 30th, 2022, officers went to the Ferriter residence to see if Ronan, their son, had returned home. The mother, Tracy Ferriter, did not want anyone to enter the residence. Officers learned there was a structure the family had built for the victim in the garage. And officers observed the structure, which was a small room with a plain white door. The door had a doorknob and a deadbolt, both locking from the exterior. There was a light switch. Inside the room was a small plain box spring, and on top of that, a mattress with a gray sheet and a pillow. There were school books with a desk and a foldable chair, and there was a camera. There was no paint on the walls, and it appeared to be bare drywall. The floor was a bare garage floor, with part of an indoor-outdoor rug covering it. Officers were told the room was built as an office and was used as storage. Then it was stated the space was sometimes used by Ronan. Ronan told the police that on a typical morning, he is woken up because his door is locked. He is told to go to the bathroom and then back to his room. The door was locked and usually the lights were turned off. After his other siblings were dropped off at school, he would be fed breakfast, a banana and a piece of bread and peanut butter. When he was finished eating, he would go to school. After school, he would come back into the room. He said it was 8 by 8 with a lockable doorknob and deadbolt on the outside. He would be locked in there and had to stay in his room. He said he was in there a lot. Ronan's sister gave testimony that he was locked in his room one time after being found to have stolen chocolate and cookies from the kitchen. The covers were removed from the mattress, and it was picked up and tossed against the room. Thousands of videos were obtained, which showed him repeatedly being locked inside of his room daily. Timothy Ferriter has been convicted and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. He is currently pulling his own shenanigans by asking for a judge to let him out while he appeals his sentence. In the meantime, his attorney submitted on his behalf 2 job offer letters, which were proved to be falsified. All of the Ferriter children, besides the youngest biological child, are not with the family. The youngest child is with Tracy Ferriter's mother. Tracy Ferriter is due in court tomorrow, Wednesday, December 6th at 8:30 a.m. A man accused of murdering his wife and her unborn baby appeared shirtless via Zoom on Monday. Jeremy Albert Best, 48 years old, is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection with the deaths of his wife, Callie Randall, and her unborn child. Police say Best also kidnapped his 10-month-old baby, Zeke Best. The infant was later found dead nearby, where Best was arrested in Bonneville County, Idaho, over the weekend. Zeke's death is being investigated as an intentional homicide, according to Bonneville County Prosecutor Randy Neal. Zeke's cause of death has not been yet determined, and an autopsy is being performed in Ada County. Best appeared for his initial appearance on camera from the Bonneville County Jail in front of Magistrate Judge Jason Walker. Jim Archibald, a death penalty certified defense attorney, we know him from the Daybell case, and John Malik, a defense attorney, also appeared on Zoom. During the hearing, Best appeared very fidgety, continually running his hands through his greasy hair, scratching his face, and at times crying. Best also claimed that Archibald is not his attorney and asked Walker what the charges were at the beginning of the hearing. Walker ordered a mental competency evaluation for Best, which was requested by the defense, Mr. Archibald. The prosecution did not object. Let's watch Jeremy Best in court together.
There it is. Right. Hold on 1 second, Your Honor. No. So you got it? Perfect.
All right. All right. Good morning. Are we good, Doug? Okay. Good morning. We're on the record. This is case number CR 41-23-877, State of Idaho versus Jeremy Albert Best. My name is Judge Walker, the magistrate judge for Teton County assigned this case. I have present here in the courtroom Ms. Bailey Smith, elected prosecuting attorney for Teton County. Also on Zoom, we have Mr. Randy Hill, prosecutor for Bonneville County. I have Mr. Jeremy Albert Best present from the Bonneville County Jail, and Mr. Jim Archibald, who has been appointed pursuant to Rule 44.3 as counsel for
Mr. Archibald.
Best. And then Mr. John Malik, our Teton County public defender, who's assisting Mr. Archibald. I also have Ms. Loretta Welch, deputy prosecuting attorney for Teton County, and our court reporter is Ms. Amy Bland. First thing I need to do is advise Mr. Best of his rights. Mr. Wright, you have the absolute right to remain silent and the privilege against self-incrimination. The state cannot force you to testify against yourself.
Did he say Mr. Wright?
You make as part of the record and may be used against you. You have the right to represent yourself and present your case without the aid of an attorney. You have the right to hire your own attorney to represent you in this manner. However, in this case, because of the nature of the charges, the court has appointed counsel to represent you.
Just based on my observations from where it was very greasy.
Unless you plead guilty or proven as such. The charges pending before you are felony matters. If you are charged with a criminal complaint, which you are in this case, there must be a preliminary hearing within 14 days if you're in custody, or 21 days if you're not in custody, unless you waive that time period or unless it's otherwise stayed for other reasons. At the preliminary hearing, the court must prove that it's more probable than not that you committed the alleged crimes for which you've been charged. The state meets this minimal burden, you'll be bound over to the district court to answer for the charges, and that is where you will enter your plea. If you were to be charged by a grand jury indictment, you would be arraigned on that indictment before another court date. If that
Look at Mr. Archibald's face.
You have the right to a public and speedy trial or court trial, jury trial or court trial. If your case goes to trial, the burden would be on the state to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. At trial, you can question any witness who's going to testify against you, call your own witnesses to testify for you, as well as present evidence on your own behalf.
What are the charges?
I'll get to that momentarily, okay?
You don't know what you did.
If you are not satisfied with the decision of the court, you may appeal that decision to the next higher court, as long as that notice of appeal is filed within 42 days of the court's decision becoming final. Where you're in custody, you have the right to reasonable communication with your attorney and immediate family members pursuant to jail's policy. You can have bail set where the charges in this case indicate potential of the death penalty. You may not be entitled to bond. If you exercise any of these rights, they cannot be used against you. That cannot be used against you. So those are the rights that apply to you, Mr. Best. I'll now read the criminal complaint, which contains the charges against you, and then I'll also advise you of the nature of the potential penalties associated with each of those charges. Pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 3 and the sworn declaration submitted herewith, the Office of Teton County Prosecuting Attorney complains against the defendant, Jeremy Albert Best, as follows. Count 1, murder in the first degree, felony Idaho Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. Penalty minimum of 10 years up to life and or death and a $50,000 fine. State alleges that defendant Jeremy Albert Best, on or about November 30th, 2023, in the county of Teton, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, and without legal justification, kill Mrs. Callie Randall Best, a human being, by shooting her in the back, and or right breast and or right side and causing her death. Count number 2 alleges murder in the first degree, a felony, Idaho Codes 18-4001, 4002, 4003, 4004, again with a penalty of a minimum of 10 years up to life and or death, or the death penalty and a $50,000 fine. The state alleges in that count that the defendant, Jeremy Albert Best, on or about November 30th, 2023, in the county of Teton, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought and without legal justification, kill a human fetus carried by Miss Callie Randall Best by shooting Miss Best and causing the fetus's death. Count number 3 alleges use of a firearm during the commission of a crime, which is an enhancement under Idaho Code 1925-20, which would add an additional 15 years to any conviction associated with this charge. It's alleged that the defendant, Jeremy Albert Best, on or about November 30th, 2023, in the county of Teton, state of Idaho, would use a firearm in the commission of the crimes alleged in counts 1 and 2. Dated December 4th, 2023, Office of the Prosecuting Attorney, signed Bailey Smith, Prosecutor. Mr. Archibald, having taken care of the rights and the reading of the complaint,
Poor Mr. Archibald.
Would the defendant like to proceed today?
Your Honor, me and Mr. Malik have met with Mr. Best. We believe that it's necessary for, under Idaho Code 18-211, that a competency review be ordered by this court. So we would ask that an order from this court be sent to the Department of Health and Welfare to conduct a mental competency review.
That's not my attorney.
All right, Mr.
It
Best,
is not.
I'll take care of that in a moment, okay? As the court's indicated, I've appointed Mr. Archibald and Mr. Malik to represent you in this matter. Ms. Smith, you want to be heard on this?
No objection to the 18-211, Your Honor.
The court will order a competency evaluation pursuant to Idaho Code 18-211-212. I'll order the Department of Health and Welfare to conduct that evaluation as quickly as practical and return a report to court as to whether or not Mr. Best is in condition to aid in his own defense and understands the proceedings against him.
I don't think he understands.
Recognizing that an 18-211 may create a stay in this case, I'm still going to go ahead and set a preliminary hearing for December 18th at 9:30 a.m. We should have a report back by then. That may create a need to postpone or move that.
Merry Christmas.
That report to come to the court before we make that determination. Lastly, we need to talk about bond in this matter. Mr. Best was initially arrested on an arrest warrant. Since that arrest warrant has been served, the state has filed an amended criminal complaint, which the court has now written Mr. Best. Does the state wish to be heard on the issue of bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead, please.
In light of the state's amendment of the charges in this case to 2 counts of first-degree murder, the state requests that the defendant's bond imposed on the second-degree murder charges filed on December 1st be revoked and that the defendant be held without bond. Under Idaho Criminal Rule 46B, the defendant is not entitled to bond on offense punishable by death. The court is to consider the factors enumerated in Idaho Criminal Rule 46C when determining whether to grant bail, and it's clear that the defendant does not merit bond in this case. The nature of these crimes is as serious as they come. The murders of Kelly Randall Best and her unborn child are arguably the most horrific crimes committed in Teton County in recent history. I understand that the facts regarding the defendant's flight from the scene and subsequent conduct towards Zeke Best are not yet before Your Honor, but I will represent that the defendant fled from the scene and it took extensive law enforcement efforts and efforts of the community to locate the defendant. The defendant has no remaining known family ties in the community. His wife and child that previously resided here are deceased. To the extent that Your Honor decides to grant the defendant bond over the state's objection, the state will request conditions of release and an opportunity to be heard on those today.
Thank you. Mr. Archibald, do you wish to be heard?
Your Honor, I acknowledge that there is no bond for a crime that's punishable by death, so I'm not asking for bond at this time.
Thank you. The court will revoke
Yikes.
the original bond was set under the original complaint filed in this case.
He
And
is
will indicate
scary.
that because of the nature of the allegations against Mr. Best and the nature of the charges, specifically being 2 counts of first-degree murder.
What an
that
idiot.
No bond is appropriate in this case under Rule 46. And will hold Mr. Best in custody without bond until further proceedings are to be held in this matter. Is there anything further, counsel, that we need to address today, Ms. Smith?
Nothing further from the state.
Mr. Archibald?
Archibald.
No.
All right.
I don't
Mr.
think so,
Best,
Mr.
I'm
Archibald.
just asking you to stay in touch with your attorney so you can be prepared to represent you, and we'll go from there. With that, the court will be adjourned.
Ew, he is really, really scary and really, really weird. Yikes. At the end of the hearing, Best was seen holding up a hand signal with his pinky and index finger pointed up. He is held without bond and expected to appear in court for a preliminary hearing December 18th at 9:30 a.m. If convicted, Best could face the death penalty. And now let's talk about the latest in the Petito versus Laundrie case. This is bananas. It is. In an amended complaint filed November 30th, Petito's parents, Joseph and Nicole Schmidt, alleged that after Laundrie killed Petito, he sent text messages, quote, back and forth between his cell phone and Gabrielle Petito's cell phone in an effort to hide the fact she was deceased, end quote. Gabby and Brian were on a cross-country road trip and documenting their adventures on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok when Gabby, 22, vanished without a trace. Her body was found in Grand Teton National Park on September 19th. She died from blunt force trauma to the head and neck with manual strangulation. According to the complaint, Brian Laundrie allegedly sent a text message to Gabby's mom on August 27th, 2021, the day her family believes she was murdered. In that message, he referred to Gabby's grandfather, Stan, by name. And Gabby never called her grandfather by his name. He allegedly sent another text from Gabby's phone on August 30th to Gabby's mom stating that there was no service in Yosemite Park. And they state in the complaint that this was an effort to deceive Nicole Schmidt into believing that Gabrielle Petito was still alive. The complaint for emotional distress, which was filed against Brian Laundrie's parents, Christopher and Roberta, alleged that on August 29th, 2 days after Gabby's death, that Brian Laundrie, quote, in a frantic telephone call, told his parents that Petito was, quote, gone. That same day, Brian Laundrie's parents spoke with Stephen Bertalino, their attorney, advising him that Gabrielle Petito was gone, that Brian Laundrie needed a lawyer, and sent him a retainer on September 2nd, 2021, according to the complaint. This was before the Laundries even took their camping trip. Bertalino, who is a defendant in the lawsuit as well, told People magazine that he has no comment and that they will be filing their answers soon. Now let's take a look at the website for the lawyer that was allegedly hired for Brian Laundrie before anyone even knew that Gabby was missing. This is Fleener Peterson, LLC, criminal defense lawyers in Wyoming and Colorado. And according to Bertalino, he called around to different lawyers before he finally, I guess, hired these guys. This guy was in GQ magazine. So we have Tom Fleener, Devin Peterson, and John Hummel. So then I was reading this where Brian Laundrie hired Wyoming lawyer who defended bin Laden bodyguard in Guantanamo Bay. So the Wyoming firm's partner, Tom Fleener, is an Army veteran who became a JAG lawyer and was profiled in GQ in 2017 for representing Guantanamo Bay detainee Ali Al-Bayul. Fleener declined to comment on the Laundrie matter when he was contacted by Fox News Digital. But Bertalino confirmed to Fox News Digital that he collected a $25,000 retainer from the Laundries and used it to pay Fleener Peterson. He said he has not collected any payment from the Laundries for his legal role in the saga. Bertalino also contacted other firms in the state, including a public defender in Teton County, where Petito's remains were discovered on September 19th, 2021. So Bertalino also told Fox Digital that the family felt pressured to say something, even though they had the right to remain silent because of the widespread media coverage and, quote, throngs of people outside the Laundrie home, including protesters carrying megaphones. He also said that in reaching out to Fleener Peterson and telling his clients not to discuss the case, he did what any defense attorney would do, and that Richard Stafford, an attorney for Petito's family, said he would have taken similar measures during his own deposition in the lawsuit last month. Brian was incoherent, beside himself, and couldn't communicate, said Bertalino. Laundrie reportedly cut the phone call short, and as a result, Bertalino says his parents had no knowledge of Petito's murder. Bertalino is awaiting the court's decision on whether he can be forced to discuss his own conversations with Brian Laundrie. What did Brian Laundrie say to Mr. Bertalino? The next hearing in this case is scheduled for December the 20th, but I wanted to make note of a couple things here about Roberta Laundrie. We all read her writings to Brian where she states, they were, that she's understood him and all of this other bullcrap. When you see her out in the reserve where his remains were found, when they find out that his dry bag is out there, this woman doesn't even look fazed. As a mother, you think she'd drop to her knees. She was that close with her son. They were intellectually the same. But she just doesn't have the reaction that you would expect. Do you guys think that Brian Laundrie's dead? I know that sounds tinfoil hat-ish, and it is, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about all three of these stories. And subscribe for more and like this video. See you in the next one. Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.